What's good, everybody? You are the universe, and everything in it is you. Now, I know that might seem like a far out concept for you to understand, but some of the basics for us to remember here are that everything the universe is made up of, you are too. All of its components, everything that's out there in the solar system, all of the elements, all come together to make human beings as well as the elements that make up the universe around us. And so it was only fitting that today I took the time out to preview my boy Allan Watts one more time because he gets real deep with this metaphysical understanding of the universe and the components of it. And some of you may take that from a religious aspect, whereas, God and everything that's a part of him, his wisdom, his knowledge, and everything that he exudes is all a part of you. And then there's other spiritual believers out there who partake in, thoughts and meditations that give them confirmation that everything that they want, they can attract. And that's sort of the wavelength that I wanted to be on for this episode right here today on the Worthy Podcast, because I want each and every one of you to have the understanding that everything you want is within your power for you to go out there and get for yourself. It's always been there for you. It's always been here for us. And so it's very important that we remember in times of distress and when we're going through things in life, that if we just come and sit down and come before the altar of the universe, or whatever being that you have faith in, that you can attract those things in your life that you want, that you deem worthy to be a part of your life. And that's no pun intended on the word worthy. But yeah, you know who I am. It's your boy, the Worthy One. It's your boy, the Worthy One, and I'm glad to be back here with you. I'm excited to preview another episode. Took a few days off, as we prepare for school and everything like that. But we're right back here with another one. And those kids, they're getting themselves situated. So now it's back to the business. It's back to the basics right here on the Worthy Network. So I want to get into this episode with Allan Watts. You are the universe. And let's get into it.
We have been brought up to experience ourselves as isolated centers of awareness and action, placed in a world that is not us, that is foreign, alien, other, which we confront. Whereas, in fact, the way an ecologist describes human behavior is as an action. What you do is what the whole universe is doing at the place you call here and now. You are something the whole universe is doing in the same way that a wave is something that the whole ocean is doing. This is not what you might call a fatalistic or deterministic idea. You see, you might be a fatalist if you think that you are a sort of puppet which life pushes around. You are separate from life, but life dominates you.
I hate these commercials. I gotta get YouTube Premium.
The real you is not a puppet which life pushes around. The real deep down you is the whole universe. And it's doing your living organism and all its behavior. It's expressing it as a singer sings a song. We've been hoodwinked into the feeling that we exist only inside our skins. That is a hallucination. It's just as nutty as anybody could be, like a fruitcake, who thinks he's Napoleon or something or other.
It's crazy.
Thinks he's a poached egg and goes around finding a piece of toast to sit on. It's just like that, a hallucination. We need to experience ourselves in such a way that we could say that our real body is not just what's inside the skin, but our whole total external environment. Because if we don't experience ourselves that way, we mistreat our environment. We treat it as an enemy. We try to beat it into submission. And if we do that, comes disaster. We exploit the world we live in. We don't treat it with love and gentleness and respect. We cut down millions of acres of forests to turn it into newspaper of all things. Lovely trees turned into information about nothing. And we don't replace them properly. We kick the world around in revenge for feeling that really we are puppets which the world kicks around. We need a new kind of consciousness in which every individual becomes aware that his real self is not just his conscious ego. You know, let's take a headlight of a car. The headlight shines on the road in front.
What is that? Crazy.
And so we are ignorant of, we ignore, it doesn't come within the scope of our attention, how it is that we manage to be conscious, how it is that we manage to grow our hair, to shape our bones, to beat our heart, and to secrete all the necessary fluids that we need from our glands. We do it, but we don't know how we do it. Because you see, underneath the superficial self, which pays attention to this and that, there is another self, more really us than I. And if you become aware of that unknown self, the more you become aware of it, the more you realize that it is inseparably connected with everything else that there is. That you are a function of this total galaxy, bounded by the Milky Way, and that furthermore this galaxy is a function of all other galaxies. And that vast thing that you see far off, far off, far off from telescopes, and look and look and look, one day you're going to wake up and say, why, that's me. Because most of us consider ourselves as chauffeurs inside our bodies, which we own in the same way as you own a car. And when it goes wrong, you take it to the mechanic to fix it. You don't really identify with your body, just as you don't really identify with your car. So here is this whole theory of nature, which has grown up in the West as an artifact, something made.
Imagine being able to build anything.
Another commercial?
Just by thinking
Come
about
on.
it. Meet Base 44.
It's almost over though, y'all. It's almost
Let me
over.
take a second theory of nature. This is an Indian theory. East Indian. Nature not as an artifact, but as drama. Basic to all Hindu thought is the idea that the world is Maya. That is a Sanskrit word which means many things. It means magic, illusion, art, play. All the world's a stage. And in the Hindu idea, there is the ultimate reality of the universe is the self, which they call Brahman or Atman. That's what there is. The self, universal, eternal, boundless, indescribable. And everything that happens, happens on the self. Like you say, it's on me. The drinks tonight are on me. Or like we say, when you hear the radio, it's on the speaker. You see, everything you hear on the radio, flutes, drums, human voices, traffic noises, any imaginable sound, all those sounds are vibrations of the diaphragm in the speaker. But the radio doesn't tell you that. The announcer doesn't come on and say every morning, "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen."
What's he getting into
This
right
is
here?
KQED.
He's talking about
The following
frequencies.
sounds that you are going to hear are vibrations of the diaphragm in your speaker. And they're not really human voices or musical instruments, but just that. They never let you in on that. And in exactly the same way, the universe doesn't let you in on the truth that all sense experiences are vibrations of the self.
All right, so let's get into that. Man. So that was Allan Watts, and he was speaking on vibration and why we are the universe. And pardon me. I deemed it worthy for us to watch this video because it seemed very important for me as I'm on this journey to continuously try to self-enlighten not only myself, even though I use the word self, but to enlighten not only myself, but other people as well around who want to be illuminated and who may not have the way or have the path to illumination. So it's very important for us to remember a few key things. And in this episode right here, as we saw, Allan Watts mentioned the connection between the universe and the earth and us and how we take care of the earth. But a deeper understanding of that is how we take care of our earth, which is our own body, our temple, which is our own body, and what we partake in, the things that we intake, the things that we digest, and the things that we speak out, right? The books that we read, the music that we listen to. So it's all a part of a bigger picture that makes the totality of each and every one of us. So from that perspective, we can see that not only are we tied to ourselves, but everything that we do has an effect on other people as well, even other elements. So for every action, there's a reaction. And we all know that this base theory is something that holds true. So we need to monitor the way that we hold relationships with our friends, our families, and the way that we treat people around us, and also intentions, because intentions, you may mean well, but things don't always end well just from having good intentions, right? But I try to go into everything with good intentions and expecting a good outcome in any situation that I may be in. And it's something that I had to learn along the way, right? None of us are perfect in this existence that we're living in. So it's very important that we learn from situations, places, and people that we encounter. And I wanted to say that because not all of my interactions have been some of the best interactions, right? And let me give you an example. So recently, I've been on a job search, right? So I had a job interview, and the name that came across of the interviewer was a name that I was familiar with. So after going on LinkedIn, looking up the name, I realized that the person who was interviewing me was a previous manager at one of my previous jobs. Now, here's where it gets thick at. When I left that job, I left on a bad note. And not a bad note as far as performance, but I didn't put in 2 weeks notice. So this same guy that's interviewing me most recently told me back then that you should never burn bridges because you never know who you're going to see in the future. So I believe he took that interview just so he could show me that these paths have crossed again. And that's a lesson for each and every one of us, not to burn certain bridges, any bridges if we can, but just to hold relationships in high regard. And that's a task in itself, in and of itself, because not every interaction is always going to be a good one. So we need to navigate, the type of interactions that we want to be involved in. So we're very much connected. We're very much connected to each and every person. And we can see it is so evident when you think about somebody and they call your phone and things like that. When I call that being a part of the superconscious mind, right? The one mind that we all share. And I know that you can't see the tethers that are, connected to each and every one of us. But we have to remember that in this world that we live in, thought is very powerful. The tongue is very powerful. And when what you think, you can bring it into existence. So it makes a lot more sense to just think positively and bring into existence the things which you wanted to attract that are good for you and that are good for those around you. And that just makes the most sense. That makes the most sense. So I wanted this episode, to be short and to the point. And I think that, I achieved that. And once again, Allan Watts, I like to listen to him when I'm not doing anything, or sometimes when I go to sleep, I'll just let his, teachings play in the background as a little symphony while I, take my little rest for the night and things like that. But man, listen, it's your boy Worthy, the one, never the two. Back again with another one. We're going to keep these things rolling. For this week right here, I just wanted to keep it on the energy, the frequency perspective, because it's so important that we all tap in and pay attention to energy and to frequency. It's all around us, and we all need to tap in like a radio station. Like, how do you think that sound moves across what they call the airwaves, right? Those waves, those frequencies, those energy motions. Don't forget that. Tap into those each and every day. Tap into yourself. Make sure you meditate. Make sure you eat healthy, and make sure you take time out to take care of yourself. And when you do that, you'll be much better, not only for yourself, but for the world around you. And with that being said, man, we got another one. It's your boy, the Worthy One, and we out of here.